here in Lyndonville, and behind me is Lizzie. She's a Ford Model A that dates back to 1931, and she's been in the Aubin family for 5 generations.
Been in our family, well, with all the parts added in, we say 93 years. You definitely feel the history in the car. I mean, when I first got it and hopped in it, you could feel the energy. So to get it started, I'm going to start cranking. And I'm going to choke it.
Well, it was my grandfather's car. After he could not drive anymore, my father had the car for a number of years. Then my brother, younger brother, had it. Then my son owned it. And now my nephew owns it.
When you're driving it, it's sort of like being in history, and then you're like, wow, my great-grandfather Alphonse drove this, and my grandfather drove this.
The old car. The old car. Here comes the old car. When I was younger, I can remember parades, special events around town. You'd see the car come through.
I've got a lot of childhood memories. I remember being in parades in it when I was a kid. Family gatherings, going for a ride with my grandfather.
And she goes, that's the old car girl. She has the old car. I'm pretty sure my brother would be the 5th generation to have it.
It's just amazing that we still have it and it's running, that we've been able to keep it this long in our family.
That's pretty much what the car's been known for, is the Ooga, yeah. I had a heck of a time trying to get a new horn. The old one didn't work. The fact that it showed up on my birthday was almost like it was a gift from my great-grandfather. It was almost like, hey, you've worked hard, here's the horn. We go back 7 generations. It was my great-great-grandfather, Joseph Aubin, moved down from Canada in the late 1800s. The Aubins are they've always been very crafty, very handy with their hands. Carpentry-wise, built their own houses.
It was fun to hear it. I can remember being little and didn't sound like a car. It purred.
My great-grandfather had, we think it was a 1930 Model A that he converted into a snow machine for his mail route. He delivered the mail for 20 years. Story is he bought this car for the parts car, but it was in such good shape, he ended up stripping all the parts off the first one and making one car. This is a 1931 Ford, but it's always had a 1930 grille on it.
He called it Lizzie. Back in the day, they called Model Ts Lizzie. Grandpa just always called it Lizzie. He had a can of paint, and he's, black paint, and he's pouring the paint on himself.
We're off! 2 years ago, Bryan had called me up saying that he was looking to pass it on to another family member, and I've never been a car guy, but the family history is really what drew me into the car. I didn't want to see the car leave the family, so I took him up on the offer and went to Burlington, trailered it back to Lyndonville.
When I first saw it, I'm like, wow, that's old.
I remember sitting in here and thinking, oh, there's no radio in here, and just looking in it and it looking so weird compared to what I've been in.
The kids and I started work on trying to get it started, and now we've been through the drive system. It's drivable now. We can hop in it and ride it when we want, and we need to move on to body work.
CJ has put so much time into this. I mean, it's night and day driving. I mean, it runs so nice.
Everything's been redone to where it's driving like a new car. The thing that's really intrigued me with this car is how simple it is to work on.
But I remember when we first got the car, I took off the plates with my dad. So we put in new flooring, and I stained the boards for that. Just like little things, obviously. I'm not a car girl, but with this, because it's so important, it's something that I'm interested in.
We've just been picking away at it the past 2 years. We've redone the whole engine and the inside of the car and the steering column and all that.
It's cool to see them have an interest in it and even help working on it, It's great because, they enjoy it just as much as I do, I mean, there's a lot of nights where it's, hey, let's go for a ride in Lizzie. Oh, I'm gonna turn my directional on. Don't you remember this in driver's ed?
Oh, yes, I do.
There's so much history with this thing. I mean, from my aunt and uncle leaving their wedding 50 years ago in this car. They had an anniversary ride in it last year, Labor Day weekend. I was able to get it going to bring it camping. So many members in the family hadn't seen this car, ridden in it in decades. Wednesday night, I believe, was band concert night. And this is where you would find most of the Aubin family on band concert night. And he remembers his grandfather looking out in the backyard going, well, where's Lizzie? And then he remembered, oh, we drove it to the band concert and they ended up walking home. So they ended up having to go back down to Bandstand Park to get the car.
Well, yeah, I went to first day of school with it.
Just the looks people give you, thumbs up, smiles, waves, even if you don't know the person, like, just wow, it's really cool.
I don't know, a hometown focal point?
We get a lot of waves. Even the motorcycle guys like you.
Like I say, maybe it got me started being a gearhead. Who knows?
You definitely feel like you're in another decade riding around in it. But it's a fun car to drive. It's a 3-speed, you got to double clutch it.
But it's pretty fun to drive, and I'm excited to drive it. I'm going to learn how to drive it soon.
I'm looking at it right now as my son graduates high school in 4 years. I got 4 years to get the car done.
So you are probably going to inherit this.
Yeah, probably, unless he brings it to his grave.
I never really got to meet my great-great-grandparents, my great-grandparents, but hearing all the stories and seeing it and actually having her with us has made it feel like I really did.
1, 2, 3 generations of houses right here. I grew up playing in this yard as a kid. My kids have grown up playing in this area. My grandfather grew up playing in this area. My dad grew up playing in this area. My great-grandfather grew up playing in this area. It's pretty cool. In my mind, it's time to get this car brought up to the times to where it's ready to go another 90 years for family. We're back.
We did it! You can see Lizzie on the streets of Lyndonville, and we will get stuck in Vermont with you again real soon.
Yeah.
Or at the band concerts on Wednesday. What's that? She sounds funny.
Yeah, it's got adjustments on it. Sometimes after the temperature changes, you might have to adjust it a little bit.